Hello and welcome students. In this module we'll learn about soil pollution. So in the previous modules we have already learned about water pollution, air pollution, and in this module we will proceed further with the topic pollution, and we have taken the topic soil pollution. Here it's mentioned we'll learn about the different sources and the effects of soil pollution. So first we need to know what is soil and how it gets polluted. So let's learn. Soil is a thin layer of loose material that covers the surface of the earth, and tiny pieces of weathered rocks. Soil is actually formed when the rocks they break down into smaller pieces, and the finest particle is known as soil. It is found spreading all over the earth's surface and the upper part of the earth's crust. And soil also has decomposed plant and dead animals, dead matter that is mixed in the soil. We call it humus, and this makes the soil fertile. This enhances the quality of the soil, and it becomes fit for growing plants and crops. So students, we can say we are dependent on soil for the food production, and therefore soil, especially the top layer of the soil, is very essential. So let's see what is soil pollution, what happens when soil gets polluted. So we need to work with nature and not against it. If you look at this quotation, so this is actually based on the World Soil Day, which is celebrated on 5th of December. So here is mentioned we need to work with nature and not against it. So definitely children, we are part of nature. So if we go against it, then it is not going to be good for us. Rather, we should always work with the nature so that everything remains in balance and equilibrium can be maintained and harmony can be maintained, or harmony prevails. So on 5th of December we celebrate World Soil Day. Now we will define soil pollution. So soil pollution is the contamination of soil with harmful substances that can adversely affect the quality of soil and health of those who are living on it. So students, who are living on the soil? We human beings, animals, insects, plants, everything, all the living creatures, most of them live in the soil. So we are dependent on the soil, and the soil is dependent on us, that we have to take care of it. But if it is not taken care of and it gets contaminated because of the mixing of harmful substances, then its quality gets adversely affected. It becomes infertile, toxic elements get mixed into the soil, and the quality of the soil gets deteriorated. So this condition, when soil is contaminated, when harmful substances are mixed, is the condition of soil pollution. Here we say soil is polluted. One more definition is here. You can see the picture, children, how there's water accumulated and there's less water and a lot of garbage and all the filthy substances and the filthy matter, the waste we can say, is thrown into the soil. Water has also got collected there. So the water as well as the soil both have got badly polluted because toxic elements have got mixed into them. So soil pollution is defined as the build-up in soil of determined toxic compounds, chemicals, salts, radioactive material, or disease-causing agents which have adverse effect on plant growth as well as on animal health. So students, it's a very simple meaning, that when the quality of the soil gets deteriorated, or it gets completely, the quality of the soil is vanished, and it has become totally unsuitable, unfit for agriculture or for other activities, then soil is said to be polluted. Now, what are the sources that leads to pollution of soil? So here the first one is the chemical fertilizers or biocides. So excessive use of chemical fertilizers in agricultural field, like pesticides, antibiotics, hormones in livestock. So we have seen livestock means the cattle, they are injected with hormones so that more milk production can be done. And in crops also, a lot of fertilizers are just thrown, and so that the crop yield becomes good, the production of crop is more, and the crop look lustrous, but the quality is compromised. Means the addition of the fertilizers, antibiotics, and then hormones to the livestock, means to the cattle, it is not natural. So when something artificial is being poured into natural setting, then definitely gradually it will get polluted, the quality will deteriorate. So the same thing happens here. So the irrigation farms are being provided with fertilizers to boost agricultural production, but what happens as a result? There is alteration in Chemical Fertilizer Act as inorganic plant nutrients. So the chemical fertilizers, they change the nutrient content in the plants. So inorganic fertilizers, the chemical fertilizers are not good for plants. The contaminated soil and wastewater are agricultural factors that affect soil. Now these contaminated fertilizer mixed water will penetrate into the soil, it will go to the water table, and when we pull water from underground, we get that polluted water. When these fertilizer mixed water will go and they will get drained into a nearby lake or pond or any other water body, the water body will also get polluted. The marine animals living in that water body, the plants will have lack of oxygen, and therefore this will also, along with soil pollution, there is also water pollution. So students, the first factor that leads to soil pollution is chemical fertilizers or biocides. Let's look at the next slide. So here it is about little more about fertilizers. So the use of excessive fertilizer to increase the crop production, yield means production, makes the soil either acidic or alkaline. So if the soil is either acidic or it is alkaline, in both ways it is polluted. It is not fit anymore for agriculture. For example, ammonium, sulfate, sodium nitrate. So if excessive fertilizers are being provided to the soil, to the crops, then it goes to the soil and the soil gets polluted. So this is how inorganic fertilizers or chemical fertilizers are harmful and leads to soil pollution. Now the second factor is biomedical waste. Now children, the biomedical waste, you are very much aware of that it is basically from the hospitals. So some of them are non-hazardous and 10 to 25% they are hazardous. So hazardous ones are like infectious, and other hazardous, they are like radioactive waste, discarded glass, pressurized containers, chemical waste, cytotoxic waste, and incinerator ash. So these are all different types of waste that are thrown out as a result of medical activities during the research work or treatment of the sick people. So when these biomedical waste are being thrown into the environment, they mix with the soil and toxic elements get mixed into the soil, and as a result they are very, very hazardous. So medical centers or hospital, they produce large quantity of waste in the form of bandages, remains of flesh, used cotton, remains of plaster, chemicals, needles, plastics, etc. So students, these are so many, it's a long list of things that are being used in by doctors and medical the hospitals, and they after they are useless, they are used, they are thrown into the soil. And these medical waste contain a large number of pathogens. So a lot of bacteria and viruses are there which contaminates the soil and plants, and the human and animal also the excreta also to a certain extent. This also pollutes the soil. So when mixed with soil biomedical waste, they pollute soil. So this was the second factor. The third one, here a little more about the biomedical waste, that when the soil pollution from biomedical waste is caused due to infectious waste, discarded medicine and chemicals. And children, this slide I have put so that you can get certain names like cadmium, lead and mercury, which are present in the waste, and they are very, very dangerous. They are highly toxic, and deadly diseases can be caused in human beings, and even plants get affected because of these chemicals. Now the third one, the chemicals and waste from factories. So students, the factories also give out huge amount of waste which is dumped into the soil, and these chemical waste are very, very poisonous to plants, animals and people. Let's move to the next slide, and this is the picture. You can very well understand. It's a spraying of pesticides. So pests are the insect or microorganisms. They are not good for plants. They harm the plants, so they are being killed by spraying pesticides and insecticides. So these are the pictures I have put for you to relate. Now here's the explanation. So plants on which we depend for food are under attack of insect, fungi, bacteria, viruses, rodents and other animals, and must compete with weeds for nutrients. So plants have several like insect and fungi and bacteria. They often attack plants, and even rodents like rats, they are also harmful. Or they are, we can say they are the enemies, and is hurdle for the plant growth. And even weeds means if we are growing a crop, unwanted plants grow around them. Those unwanted plants are known as weeds. So to kill unwanted population living in or on their crops, farmers use pesticides. So to remove all these pests, farmer use pesticides. The remnant of such pesticide used on pest may get absorbed in the soil and contaminate the root crops grown in that soil. So students, there are several crops which grow under the soil. So those crops absorb these remains of the pesticides from the soil, and it is very, very harmful and dangerous. The consumption of such crops causes the pesticides remnants to enter human biological system, affecting them adversely. So students, can you see that how the pesticides enter the food chain? We eat the plant, we consume the plant. The plant has already taken the toxin, that is the pesticides. We kill the pest, but during the killing of the pest, we forget that the poison that we are giving to the pest, that poison is entering the food chain, and we are consuming the same food, and that harmful poison is entering our body. So this is how soil is affected, gets polluted, and when we grow crops in that polluted soil and we consume it, we also become severely sick. So this is how the toxins enter the food chain. So students, this was one of the factor of that leads to soil pollution. This was the fourth one. So these are the 4 factors leading to soil pollution. Let's move to the effects. Now, what are the effects? Soil productivity gets reduced. Definitely, if toxins are added, the quality of the soil will deteriorate. Maybe the soil will become infertile or exhaust, means the nutrients will vanish. Loss of nutrients. Constant demand of forest product leads to deforestation. Now, if there will be constant demand of the forest product, definitely what will happen? More trees will be cut down so that the demand can be fulfilled. Let's look at some more effects. Soil becomes more prone to erosion. If we leave the soil with lot of toxins, means waste on it, then definitely the toxins of the waste will get mixed with the soil, and this soil will be unfit for growing any plant, and it will be left loose and it will be prone to erosion. Fast moving wind, water, rain can easily take away such soil. Pesticides and chemical fertilizers kill useful microorganisms and the soil become full of toxic contents. So if we spray more of pesticides and chemical fertilizers, then definitely it will kill even the useful microorganisms along with the pest. Pest we need to kill, but the pesticide doesn't know that it has to kill only the pest. It will also kill the useful microorganisms, and which is very much required by the soil. So the soil will become full of toxic contents. So students, these are the harmful effects of soil pollution. Now let's learn how to control. So we will see some preventive measures, and here the first one is organic farming, biofertilizers and biopesticides. So if we use biofertilizers and biopesticides, then we will be spared from the harmful impact or harmful effect of inorganic or chemical fertilizers. Then the soil will no more be polluted, and therefore we need to support organic farming, and this is a very good way to prevent soil pollution. So students, organic farming, and what are the things can be that is used in organic farming? Crop rotation is practiced. Green leaf manures, instead of chemical fertilizers, green leaf manures is used. Vermicomposting is done. Manures which are organic in nature, biofertilizers, then animal husbandry, animal excreta is used to make manures, and then biological management. So the management is also done which is friendly to the crops and to the soil. So these are the aspects of organic farming. So it's a very interesting fact to know that world's first 100% organic farming state is an Indian state. So which state is it? Sikkim. So Sikkim, state of northeastern India, goes organic. It is the first 100% organic farming state in the world. So organic farming in Sikkim as a strategy for sustaining ecosystem services and livelihood. So to protect the environment, soil, forest, water bodies, and also for the livelihood, to provide employment to the people, Sikkim has gone organic. So this is the first Indian state and to go 100% organic farming, and also in the world. So it's a matter of pride. So what is the second thing we can do to control or prevent soil pollution? That is biogas production using animal waste and agricultural waste. So students, we are already well acquainted with how biogas is produced. Here animal and human excreta is put into a pit which is covered, and then the excreta gets decomposed and it releases a gas, and that gas is known as biogas. This can be used for cooking and other purposes also. So this is a very good method of production, biogas production, with the help of which we can whatever is left after biogas production, that excreta turns into manure. That manure, if used in the farms, will not cause any harm to the soil but will be organic in nature. So this is another way by which we can prevent soil pollution. The third one is afforestation. Grow more trees and also control overgrazing so that the soil doesn't get washed away. And the forest and the grasses, they hold the soil tight and they do not allow them to get washed away. And also the soil provide nutrients and get nutrients. They depend on each other, and like this the fertility, the quality of the soil remains intact. Now there is another next thing that we can do is DDT and plastic bags should be banned. So here plastic is a very big concern all over the world. So this should also be banned, because if plastic is thrown in the soil, most of the plastic never gets decomposed and they remain in the soil and makes the soil unfit for agriculture, and unfit, it also makes the soil toxic. So students, these are the preventive measures that can be taken to control or prevent soil erosion. Soil pollution. So thank you students, that's all in this module. We'll proceed further with the topic pollution in the next module.